Well, welcome to the session today. As you can see, I'm working in a very small space, but luckily we're going to be doing a very gentle, relaxing session today, focusing mainly on the lower back. So this is a really good practice for anybody that's recovering from a back problem, but not advisable if you're still in pain at the moment. But any doubts, just check with your doctor or drop me a line. So the only prop that you might need for this practice today is a cushion or a pillow, and that's not absolutely necessary. So if you just get yourself set up and have a cushion to one side, and then come to lying on your back. So we're going to start with stretching the legs out on the mat, just allowing the legs just to relax, maybe letting the feet fall out to one side, to each side. And just drawing the shoulder blades down away from your ears. And check that the back of your neck is fairly long. If you find that your chin is sticking up like this, it's quite a good idea just to put a folded towel or something like that just underneath your head, just so that the chin comes down a little bit. So settling yourself down, allowing the breath to settle. So some of the practice today we can synchronise with the breath. Some of it will just be a free breath, but just we'll take it as we go. See what's best. So we're going to start by bringing our attention down to the lower spine. And just noticing that hollow in the lumbar spine where it arches away from the floor. And we're going to try and keep our awareness on this area through the whole practice today. And I'll keep reminding you. So if you'd like to just try placing the hands underneath the spine, just see if the hand can slide in under there. That's that nice lordosis, it's called, the curve of the spine. Quite a big gap there. And we can then use our hands just to massage that area gently, just to help it to wake up, just to tell the brain that that's the area we're working on. Just some nice, gentle, soothing movements. And go close to the spine, do some little circles, move outwards. Going into the soft tissue, so we're not pressing in too deeply, we're just giving it a soothing touch, just to establish a connection with that area. And then taking your hands down by your sides. And we're going to bend one knee, placing that foot on the floor, and then the other one. And just notice what happens to the lower back. If you try and put your hands underneath now, you'll find maybe that the fingers will slide under, but maybe not the whole hand, so that has decreased. That curve has decreased. And we're just going to test that out. We're going to slide one leg away, see how that feels. And then the other leg. Notice what happens to the spinal curve. And bring one leg back up again. So just one leg at a time, so this is an asymmetrical effect on the spine. Sliding one away, and then the other one, and coming back to a bent knee position. So having the hands back down by your sides, we're going to do a few gentle pelvic tilts. So we can synchronise this with the breath if you like. So as you exhale, you can press the lower back into the floor. Feel as if you're lifting the tailbone up away from the floor. And as you exhale, go in the opposite direction. So the tailbone goes down and the lower back arches away from the floor. So it's a little tilting motion. Again, keeping your attention on all of the sensations going on in the lower back. So these awareness practices help the brain to make new connections. It's known now how plastic the brain really is, and it can make quite good new connections if we take our attention to a particular place. And then the more connection the brain has, the better map it has, the more it can finally control that area. So it's a kind of good feedback loop. So now that you've gone back and forth a few times, we're going to come to rest about halfway. So there's not too much of a lordosis, and the back isn't flat, it's not too curved, it's sort of midway between those 2 points. And this is a nice neutral position for the spine. So just stay here for a few breaths and let the brain absorb that information. And then we'll very gently start to tilt the legs over to one side, just pressing one leg gently into the floor, just lifting the hips just very slightly away from the floor, just a few centimetres. Come back, inhaling. And exhale to the other side, so you're pressing gently with one foot into the floor to help that hip come away, and relaxing back and just noticing which muscles are becoming engaged as you do this, and then notice them relax as you come back to centre. This is very much an awareness practice. You need to slow down the movements, slow down the breath. And we have to have some patience as well. So you can start to maybe go a little bit further over to each side, tipping over a little bit further, seeing how that feels. So there's no judgment involved, it's just, well, that feels as if there's a bit of resistance, or that feels a bit stiff. It's not good or bad. It's just observing the way it is. And we'll just do one more each side. And come back to the central position. Now bring one knee towards the chest, put your hand on top of the knee, and then the other one. So just allow the legs to be passive. So the arms are straight, holding the knees in position. The legs are just being held by your arms. And just notice how that feels in the lower back. Breathing easily. And then we're going to place the left foot back down on the floor. Both hands can come to the top of the right knee. As you exhale, draw that knee down towards the chest. Feel the lumbar spine flattening as you do this. And then as you inhale, move the knee away, straightening the arms, feeling the lumbar lordosis increase, arching away from the floor.
Exhaling, bringing the knee back towards your chest. And keeping your mind on what's going on in the lower back. And if there's ever any pain or it feels uncomfortable, stop doing that particular exercise. You can try moving in a different way, but if that's really too much, then it's best to not continue with the practice. So the no pain, no gain adage just isn't what we want to be working with. It's not true. So we're going to expand this movement, and as you inhale next time, you're going to straighten the leg along the floor and take the arms above the head. So inhale, take the leg away. If you like, you can hover it above the floor or take it all the way to the floor. I actually haven't got enough space here for my arms, but pretend I have. Exhale, drawing the knee back in, bringing the hands back to meet the knee. So just another 3 of these. Inhale, straightening the leg. You can either hover it above the floor or rest it on the floor. Arms above the head. Exhale, back. So trying to synchronize the movement as you breathe. Inhale, stretching away. Inhale, coming back in. One more. And as always, keeping your mind on the lumbar spine. And then just resting here. Just resting the hands back on top of the knee. So this time, as we inhale and we take the arms behind us, we're also going to stretch the leg up towards the sky. So inhale, stretching the leg, pointing it up towards the sky, arms above the head. And exhale, coming back, drawing the knee to the chest, hands on top of the knee. Inhaling, stretching away. Exhaling, coming back into center. And you're not really using your arm strength. When you draw the knee towards the chest, you're trying to use the abdominal muscles, the core muscles. Last one. And resting the arms down by the sides, bringing that foot back down to the floor. So we're going to move to the opposite side now, bringing the left knee in towards the chest. And we simply inhale, move the knee away. Exhale, drawing it in. And just notice how different does this side feel to the other side. Is it easier? Is there more resistance? How does the back feel on this side compared to the other one? Really trying to slow down the movement. So on our next inhale, we're going to stretch the left leg away on the floor, either above the floor or completely to the floor, and the arms above the head. And the arms can either be stretched straight, or you can keep the elbows soft. You can experiment with that, see how that feels. If you don't have much mobility in your shoulders, you can maybe bring the hands down to a pillow. And just feel the effects of the load of the leg on the lower back. Feel those muscles engaging. And so the next one, we're going to take the leg up to the sky. If your leg doesn't come into a vertical position, you just bring it as far as it will come. Using the abdominal muscles on the exhale. Using your ujjayi breath if you're familiar with it. Last one. And bring that foot back down to the floor. Bring your arms back down to your sides. Take a few breaths. Just be aware of the neutral position of your spine with just that certain amount of hollow under the lumbar spine there. Not too much, not too little. Taking a few resting breaths. And then we can take the arms out to each side. Again, I haven't really got enough room here, but I'll do my best. And the knees and the feet are together. So we're going to start exhaling, starting to take the knees over to one side, not all the way, not halfway. And inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, going to the other side. Just feel as if you're going to the point, the tipping point, where if you went past that point, the knees would carry on going all the way down to the floor under the influence of gravity. Just feel as if you're coming to that tipping point. Just notice what muscles are involved in stopping you from going any further. Which muscles are involved in initiating the movement to the side? Is it coming from the foot? Is it coming from higher up the body? How does one side feel compared to the other? And then we'll start going all the way over, all the way past that tipping point, and the knees come to the floor. Keep the knees here. Now we're just going to raise the top knee up towards the ceiling, pointing towards the ceiling, and then it carries on going all the way over to the right, and then it's as if there's a strap between the two inner thighs, and it's going to drag the left thigh with it up to the centre, so that left thigh stays quite passive till it gets to the top, and then gravity takes over and it falls down to join the right leg. So as you inhale, raising the left leg up towards the ceiling, the strap comes into play and it starts to pull the right leg, so that points up towards the ceiling, and then it rolls all the way over to the left. So we'll keep going with this. Inhale, right knee comes to centre, starts to pull the left leg comes to centre and drops down to the right. just do a couple more of these. I find these very pleasant to do. So concentrate on keeping one leg as passive as possible. Notice how this feels in the lower back. And then we'll come back to centre. The arms can come back down by your sides if you like. And stretch the legs away on the floor. So we're going to introduce a little bit of sideways bending for the spine. And how we're going to do that is by pushing one leg away, as if one leg is pushing away from you, and it feels also as if the other leg is coming up towards you. So one hip moves away, the other hip moves up, and then reversing that. The other hip moves away, the other moves up. So it's quite a subtle, small movement. And see if you can visualise what's going on in the spine at the same time. So one vertebra is squeezing up against the other one, and the other side is opening up. One side squeezing together, the other side opens. Sideways squeeze. And if you like, you can join in with the arms. I haven't really got the space to do it here. If you take the arms overhead, so we'll do it with the breath. As we inhale, we'll stretch the left arm away and the left arm. And then we go to the other side. This side relaxes. Inhale, press the right side away. Right arm, right leg. Exhale, relax. Come back to the left. And keeping the attention on the spine. You can imagine that squeezing action going on. And we'll just do the right side. And we'll come back to centre. So we're going to roll over onto one side, bend the knees, roll over, and coming up to all fours. So in the all fours position, just think for a minute just about our hands. So we're going to have not the fingers close together like this, and not really widely apart like that either, about halfway. And when we take weight upon the top of the hands like this, we're going to imagine that we're drawing the fingertips up to the centre of the palm. So there's a slight gripping action going on, and the most of the fingers and the palm lift up away from the floor. Then when you've established the position of your hands, a very light pressure down into the hands, and you might just feel this shoulder blade just coming round into the side. That's helping to support your shoulders whenever you take weight upon the hands. And then we're going to bring our attention back to the lumbar spine. So we'll start with some of those pelvic tilts that we've just been doing. So tipping the tailbone up, you feel the abdomen fall down towards the floor. And then exhale, draw the tailbone down and feel the flattening of that lumbar curve. So we're not using the whole of the spine as we normally do in this position. We're just concentrating upon the lumbar spine. Just exploring, seeing how much motion, range of motion we've got there, range of movement. You should feel a nice, smooth, easy movement. And then come to the halfway position, that nice neutral spine. And you can use one hand just to check, is there still a lumbar curve there? And it's quite good also, that touch of the hand, it helps the brain to make the connection. You can give it a little soothing touch. And bringing the hand down. So we're going to just mobilise the spine a little bit now that we're in all fours. We can do all sorts of things. We can go to one side, take the ribs to one side, and then to the other, staying quite gentle, exploring and feeling the movement, making sure it always feels comfortable for you. As I said before, we don't want any pain or discomfort. And we can start going round into circles, bringing the weight forward and then back. You can make the circles smaller, you can go into a bit of a spiral, bringing that movement into a smaller and smaller circle, and then taking it back through the spiral, back out again. And coming back to the neutral position. So just check there's a little lordosis there, a little arch. And we're going to start keeping that arch in place. Take an inhale. As you exhale, just start to draw the hips back towards the heels. Only a short distance, but trying to keep that lumbar lordosis in place. And inhale, come back forward again. So as you exhale, see if you can feel all these muscles, these core muscles, starting to activate, feeling as if they're hugging the spine, keeping it safe and secure and in place as you move back. And inhale, come back forward again onto all fours. So we're moving on the exhale, and we're feeling that activation of the core muscles to protect the spine, keeping it in that nice neutral position as we come backwards, and inhale, come forwards again. So again, taking the buttocks backwards, keeping the lordosis in place if you can, and inhale forwards. Now we're going to come all the way back into child pose, and we will lose that lordosis of the lumbar spine. It starts to flatten about here, and then it starts to maybe get stretched in the opposite direction. Now as you come down into child pose, you can have a cushion or something to support yourself, or to place under the head or under the chest. You can take the legs wide. You can play with this position, so just come down into a position that's comfortable for you. You can also support the head by making little fists with your hands, supporting the forehead here. So just come down into a comfy position. Taking a few breaths and just being aware of that nice stretch going on in the lumbar spine. And on an inhale, we're going to come back into the all fours position. And we're going to do a little bit of work to mobilise the spine from here. So first of all, we're going to take one leg out to the side. Now this is just to stabilise you, it doesn't matter where it is exactly. And then on the next inhalation, we're going to, so if you've taken, say, your left leg out to one side, we're going to be raising the left hand. So as you inhale, we're going to take that hand up towards the ceiling, and you can watch the hand as it comes up. Keep it going as far as it can behind you. And exhale, bring it down
Keep watching the hand, and it comes back down to the floor, and see if you can slide it under the other arm. Slide it to the other side as far as it will go, and then inhaling, coming back again. So this is a rotation for the vertebrae in the lumbar spine, and just being aware of those sensations as the vertebrae rotate. Trying to keep your mind on that part of the body, helping the brain to make those neural connections. And just being aware of those sensations. No judgment. No hurry. We'll just do one more. Can't remember how many we've done. We'll just do one more. And bring that hand back down. So bringing in that left leg, if it was the left one, and taking out the other leg. I've got a lot of space there, but I'll just put it there. And then when you're ready to take your inhale, stretching that arm up, watching the hand, taking it back behind you as far as it can go, and exhale, drawing it back down again. A nice, smooth, controlled movement, sliding it under the arm. So you're working with your breath. Your breath might be faster or slower than mine. That's absolutely fine. Just try and move in conjunction with the breath. So if your breath is quite short, you might find that you need to make faster movements in order to coordinate with the breath. And I think we'll just do one more. And again, notice if there's any difference on this side compared to the first side. And come back to centre, drawing that leg in. So making sure your hands are well placed on the floor, your fingers, and that little grasping action with the fingertips. Drawing the chin back, not allowing the head to drop between your arms. And we're going to stretch one leg out behind us, keeping the toes on the floor. And we're going to exhale. So again, we'll start with the left leg. It's easier for me to describe. As you exhale, we're going to swing that leg around to the right. And you can turn to look at it if you want. You don't have to add that part. That adds a little bit of upper body work as well. And you can come back to centre, and if you like you can bring it round in the other direction a little as well. So this is sometimes called cat tail, because it's like a cat's tail swinging. So you can exhale as it comes round to the opposite side, and then inhale as it comes round to the same side. And however far you want to bring it up, that's up to you. I'm a bit constrained by space. And we'll just do two more to each side. Just see if you can feel the vertebrae squeezing together and relaxing again. And come back to centre. Come back to your neutral stance. And then stretching the other leg out. On the exhale, take the other leg round to the opposite side. If you want to turn and look at the foot, that's an optional extra. Inhale, bringing the foot round to the same side. And just going slowly from side to side. Keeping your awareness on the sensations in the spine. And And we'll just do one more. And coming back to all fours. So if you want to just do some free movements just to ease out, you can just do some of those with free breath. Just taking the spine in any direction it feels like. Keeping it nice and soft. And then coming back to your neutral position. Neutral spine. So we're going to do something now for the stability of the lower back. So we're going to tuck the toes under, take an inhale. As you exhale, just lift the knees just a few centimetres away from the mat. Stay here as you inhale and exhale, lower the knees back down. So we're just moving on the exhalation. Inhale, exhale, lift the knees. Inhale, stay here, and exhale, lower. And if you need to take a resting breath in between repetitions, please do. Inhale, exhale, lift the knees. Inhale, and exhale, lower the knees down. Take a resting breath. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale, and exhale, lower the knees. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale here, and exhale down. Just take a resting breath, and we'll just do that repetition one more time. A little set of 2. So inhaling, exhale, lift. Inhale, and exhale, coming down. One more time. Okay, and you can just ease out if you for just a few breaths. And so from here, we're going to go into plank pose. If plank pose, the normal standard version, is a little bit too strong for you, you can start by just walking the knees back a little bit and coming into a kind of half plank so that the body is straight all the way from the knees up to the shoulders. Slight pressure into the fingers just to support the shoulder joint. And then if you want to, you can take it further, lift the legs all the way from the ground, coming into plank, keeping the neck in line with the spine, and that slight pressure down onto the hands to support the shoulder. Taking a few breaths. If you need to relax, bring the knees down, take a little break, take a resting breath, and then repeat, or you can stay in this half plank position. And then release. And bring the body down to the floor. And have the forearms extending forwards so the elbows are in line with your shoulders and the forearms are just pointing forwards on the floor. The hips are on the floor. Your chest is away from the floor, trying to keep the neck in line with your spine so you're not hiking the neck up, which would hyperextend the neck. Keep drawing the chin in, so you're looking down at the floor just a little bit in front of you. So Sphinx Pose. Now if you find this really difficult, you can, this is where the pillow or the cushion comes in, you can place that under the abdomen, and that does help
And we'll just take a few breaths. Keep stretching back into the feet, rolling the shoulders back, feeling as if you're lifting the breastbone. Back of the neck is long, chin is tucked in. One more breath. And if you're using the cushion, you're going to release that. Put it to one side. If you found it quite useful in Sphinx Pose, then you probably could continue to use it for Cobra. I'm not going to use it, so putting it out of the way. So we're going to have the arms in the same position that we had them for Sphinx, maybe a little bit wider, it's up to you, and having the forehead on the floor. So the feet are about hip width apart, stretching back. And we're going to do some strengthening work for the lumbar spine. So on the inhale, without pressing the arms into the floor, you're simply going to lift the torso up, keeping the neck in line with your spine, using those muscles in the lower back, and exhale, come down. You can turn the head to one side. Inhale, coming to center with the head and lifting up again. Stretching back into the feet, lifting up as high as you can, and exhale, come down, taking the head the opposite side. Do that same thing again. Inhale, lift up, and just be aware of all those muscles engaging in the lower spine, and then relaxing as you come down. So we've done 2 repetitions, and we shall just relax there, taking a few relaxing breaths, keeping your mind on the spine and imagining all the blood coming in now that the muscles are relaxed. All the blood vessels will be opening up and bringing the blood to nourish that area, bringing in nourishment, taking away waste products, and then we'll repeat. So inhale, come up, and as we exhale, we'll take the head to the opposite side, to the side we were just resting in. Inhale, coming up. Exhale to the other side. And when you come down, you relax the shoulders, everything relaxes. Inhale, coming up. So the neck stays in line with your spine, you're not hiking the neck up. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, and we shall stay here for a couple of breaths. Relaxing that area. If you like, you can take the hands there and give it a nice gentle rub. Just encouraging it to relax. And then bringing the hands back down. And so this time we can repeat, but we can raise one leg. So we inhale, take the head to the center, raising up, and just raising one leg. So it's a little bit more work for the lower back muscles to do. And exhale down, head to the opposite side. Inhale to center, raising the head, raising the other leg. We'll do one more to each side. Keeping your awareness on the lumbar spine. Just being aware of the muscles that are engaging, working. And then being aware of them relaxing, letting go, and just taking a breather here. The feet can relax out to the sides, lower back completely relaxed, shoulders relaxed. And then we'll repeat that one more time, bringing the feet back to centre. Inhale, raising the head, raising one leg. Exhale, taking the head to the opposite side. And just notice, is that action for the lower back, is it a little bit easier than it was now that the muscles have warmed up? So one more repetition each side. You might be able to come up a little bit further than you could at the start, and then relax. Again, you can give the lower back a little bit of a rub, just all around the soft tissues, all around the lower spine area. Should feel quite nice and pleasant. And then we're going to roll back. That will come back to all fours. It's a good position to do mobilising exercises in. So just taking the spine round again, maybe in figure of 8, whatever feels nice. And then we'll come over onto our backs. So keeping the knees bent, the feet are about hip width apart, arms are down by your sides. Spine is in a neutral position, just enough lumbar lordosis, not too much, not too little. Just check with your fingers. And we're going to go back to a few pelvic tilts. So taking the lower back to the floor as you lift the tailbone. And then in the opposite direction, should feel quite nice after the work we've been doing. And then we'll start to come up into a bridge pose. So with the inhale, we'll lift the pelvis up, lift the hips, all the way up. So you don't have to come up too high, just think of creating a long straight line between the knees and the shoulders. And exhale, rolling back down, trying to isolate each of the vertebrae. And just noticing, are there any little sticky places that don't want to separate out and move separately? Coming back up as you inhale. And just noticing. If there are, you can stay there and just work up and down on those areas. Any little places that feel as if the vertebrae are more stuck to each other. Work up and down a few times and then come all the way down. And repeat the whole thing. Inhaling, coming up. Exhale, just working on any little places. You can use a free breath. And then exhale all the way down. So this next time we're going to come down as if we're coming down a series of steps. So inhale, come up into bridge pose. As you exhale, just come down maybe 3 vertebrae. Inhale and go up 2, so not all the way up. And then exhale, come down another 3. Inhale up. Exhale down 3. Inhale up 2. So it's as if you're coming down a staircase. Coming down and then going up a little. Taking your time, no hurry. Keeping your attention on the spine. If you finish that one, you can try again. See if you can isolate, feel each of the vertebrae. So of course we're working on the whole spine here, not just the lumbar spine. And coming all the way back down again. And coming back to that feeling of the lumbar spine being in a neutral position. And we're going to do another stabilising asana. And again, we're going to move on the exhalation. So with your spine in this nice neutral position, all the nice curves, little inward arch of the lumbar curve, outward arch of the thoracic spine, and the inward curve again by the neck. We're going to try and raise the spine, keeping these curves intact. So we'll take an inhale first. As you exhale, start to feel those muscles engaging around the core and lift the hips up and try and keep those curves intact. Inhale at the top. And exhale, lowering in the same way. Trying not to let the lumbar curve move. Trying to keep it all stable and in place. Inhale again. Exhale, pushing gently into the feet to raise the hips. Keeping that lumbar curve in your mind's eye as it lifts up. Keeping it in place. Inhale here. Exhaling. All the core muscles are working to protect the spine, hugging the spine. We'll just do that 2 more times. Inhale. And you move on the exhale. Keeping your awareness on the spine, particularly that lumbar curve. One more time. So this is helping to build stability in the lumbar spine. When you've finished, coming back down, staying in the position, taking some resting breaths. And we're going to come back to one of the movements that we did at the start of the practice. Just take the arms just a little bit away from the body. And as you inhale, just drawing one hip just a few centimetres up away from the mat. How does that feel in the lumbar spine? Exhale, lower. And the other side. Just being aware of those sensations. Which muscles are starting the action? How much effort do you need to perform the action? How efficient is it? And we'll start to lift a little bit higher. So what happens to the spine now? Does more of the upper spine start to get involved? As you lift higher, start to take the knees further over to one side. Where's the initiation of the action coming from? Is it from the feet? Maybe a little bit from the arms? Just allowing the body to perform the action in the most efficient way that it knows that it will do for you. And making it slightly bigger action. So the knees are coming over more to one side. Trying to slow it down. And let the knees come all the way down to one side. Inhale back to centre. And exhaling, other side. You can turn the head in the opposite direction if you wish. And keeping your attention all that area, the sacrum, the hips, the lumbar spine. Coming back to centre, and we'll make that movement a little bit stronger if your back feels okay. You're going to put one leg on top of the other, so one thigh is on top of the other, crossed over. And we're going to repeat that twist to each side. A bit of a stronger twist this time. And just notice how that feels. You might feel a bit more of a stretch. How much effort do you need to come back to centre? What muscles are firing? So we'll come back to the centre, unhook the legs, and go the other way, of course. So start tipping the legs. You can experiment with this. You can move the foot that's in contact with the floor. You can move that either closer to the body or further away from the body, just to see how that feels. It's good to experiment. And it's good also to do exercises in a different way to the way we normally do them, because the brain adapts to the movement that it expects. And if there's some directions that we don't usually move in, then we lose the capacity. The brain forgets that we can move that way. And we'll come back to centre. Uncross the legs. Draw the knees up towards the chest. And we'll practice Apanasana again. So as you inhale, the knees move away, the arms become straight. Exhaling, using all these abdominal muscles, drawing the knees in towards your chest. Feeling the lower spine flatten against the floor. Keep going. Just a gentle movement, not introducing any tension. And we'll just do one more repetition. And placing the feet on the floor. And just checking in with the lumbar spine. How does it feel? How is that lordosis? Can you slide just the fingers underneath here? And keep the fingers there and just slide one leg away and then the other leg. And notice that arch becoming a little bit greater than it was. Slide one leg in and then the other leg in. Feel the lumbar spine flattening. Stretch the legs back out, one leg at a time. And then take the arms just next to you. Turn the palms up. Roll the shoulders down the back and let the feet just relax out to the side. Once again, just check that your chin isn't pointing up to the ceiling. If it is, use that little folded towel under the back of the head. And allow the breath to relax. Keeping the eyes closed. And bringing your attention to the lumbar spine. Noticing any slight movement as you breathe. Feeling the relaxation on the exhale. The muscles relax. And that very slight lift on the inhalation. If this position isn't that comfortable for you, you can always use a chair and bring the knees up. Rest the lower legs on a chair or against a wall. So to come out of relaxation, we're going to roll onto one side. Push yourself up to sitting. And thank you for joining me today.